Good evening, everyone. This is the February 13, 2019 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This meeting is being broadcast live and is also being recorded for future viewing. The video will be available at the town website, which is auburnguide.com. Before we begin tonight's hearing, I'm required to ask if anyone in the audience is making a recording of this meeting. There being no indication that that is the case, the first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 p.m. public hearing for Scribner Development, a notice of intent for the construction of a new septic system at 411 Leicester Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote? Sheila?
They requested continuance to the next meeting due to a peer review, I believe, or not a peer review, a review from the Board of Health.
Okay.
Septic. There were some changes. I guess they moved it a little bit, so they're asking Dowling to review it again and to sign off on the install.
I can actually shed some light on this. I had a conversation with Bill Coyle, I think maybe Friday of last week, in which apparently he made certain suggestions with respect to repositioning the septic system. For those of us that have been out to the site, this is the property that is located behind Chapin Brook, and so it poses twin challenges because there are wells there, and also there's a need to replace the septic system at the property to make it a feasible project. So my understanding is that the applicant is going to submit a new, maybe a redesign or at least a relocation of the septic system to the Board of Health for their review, and then after that they will come back to see us. So, and is it your sense, Sheila, that they will be able to do that by the time of our next meeting?
I would think she'd be able to review if they've got the plan already.
Okay.
I would think in a 2-week time frame.
All right. So,
I wanted to be here for that one.
okay.
I think he did ask for the next one. I've scheduled them already for 7:10 if somebody wants to make that motion.
Okay, so
I trust you
7:10?
guys.
Yes.
Okay, so is there a motion to continue the public hearing for Scribner Development to February 27th at 7:10?
I make a motion that we delay postpone the hearing, Scribner Development, until our next meeting on February 27th at 7 p.m.
7:10.
7:10, thank you.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote? All right, and we have several minutes before the next public hearing. Shall we go over meeting minutes?
October 10th, outstanding.
Okay. And you're here for...
Oh, yes, Alice agrees. Michelle and I.
The next at 7:10.
Any changes for the meeting minutes of October 10th? Okay. So I guess, Tom, since we're the three members present at that meeting, do you have any changes to the meeting
I
minutes?
do not.
Okay. So is there a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of October 10th, 2018.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Abstain.
Okay, and Mr. Rand and Mr. Romney were not on the commission, so they can't vote.
Right.
All right. All right. How about the meeting minutes for January 9th? Let's see if we can get on a roll here, huh?
Okay.
All right.
Those are the ones that were revised a couple times.
Right.
Yeah. Have revised.
I have no changes for the meeting minutes of January 9th.
Shill. Awesome.
Don't worry, go ahead. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting on January 9th as
Revised?
revised.
Okay, is there a second?
Second that?
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Allison abstains. Okay. And then,
One more.
last but not least, I can't, since I wasn't there,
Tom held down the fort.
and I'm sure he did a terrific job.
He did.
Thank you. Sitting at the big people table.
I don't have any changes.
Okay.
No, I'm okay.
In that case, is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes for January 23rd of 2019?
I move to accept the meetings for January 23rd of 2019.
Is there a second?
Just like that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? And I abstain because I was not present. All right. Okay, and it is now 7:10. The next item on our agenda is a 7:10 public hearing. William Milanazzo, request for determination for the clearing of invasive plants, dead fallen trees, standing dead wood, and cutting out overcrowded trees, and planting of native plants and shrubs at 511 Rochdale Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, a vote. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
Aye.
So several of us went out to the property on Saturday, and I think you heard some concerns from some of us.
Yes,
And my understanding was that you were going to, I think, scale back your project a little bit.
yes.
Okay.
From the feedback that I got from the site visit about the deadwood and the other concerns that you raised, I think that anything beyond just trying to get rid of the bittersweet and taking care of one problem tree is beyond what I should be doing without a much more advanced engineered plan or anything like that. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm going to keep the clearing out the bittersweet would be by hand, and using a herbicide cut and then apply it directly to the roots. I think it's glyphosate. The NRCS has instructions on that, and the herbicide that I was doing, it's the active ingredient Roundup, glyphosate, or whatever it is. It's safe for wetland, but I'm not going to be spraying anyways. It's going to be directly applied to cut roots
Okay.
for treatment for the bittersweet that's in that area. As those are cleared out and die back, she's going to help me plant some
By choice.
shrubs
Yeah.
so that we get native shrubs. It's another NRCS Massachusetts gave us a nice listing of the shrubs. She's all excited about it, but to plant there in place of where the bittersweet is, so that we have native shrubs growing there, so that we don't run into this problem going forward. So I was scaling that back, and then that one tree I want to take out.
Yeah,
There's an
I've got
image of
this.
that.
Which tree is it? Is it this big one?
It's a big tree. It's a
Oh,
big
okay.
Yeah.
24-inch at the end
There's
of the
three
driveway.
them,
Okay.
right
It's
now.
just on my
And
property.
It's this one that's
It's-
closest to us.
Okay.
It's got a
Split right up the
One
middle.
tree?
large
Yeah, okay.
split in it, and it's already been dropping some branches. It's
I see
Yeah.
that.
yeah, I don't want it to.
Are you going to have that done
He's got my
professionally,
copy.
Oh.
or do you feel lucky?
It's not in a bad position. I'm torn back and forth. I think I could do it, but I'm leaning towards professionally because of its size and proximity to the road and such.
Go
So,
for it.
Because, you don't want that tree to fall in
Adventurous.
the wrong direction,
yes, Yes.
It could be,
How close is that to the street?
It's close.
it's right on the
It's
corner.
weird, huh?
yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah. It's very close to the street, and I've been taking trees this big, but something that big is just
Yeah,
a
that's a
different
lot
level.
bigger than what we've done before, so.
It's definitely on your property.
There was a tree there. We actually,
other side of
on the
the
other side that
driveway.
was dead, but it was right next to the street. I talked to Bill Coyle from the town about it. We went through it, and he
It's not-
pointed out,
it's not on town property.
this is town property trees, and this is
So
your
you know
property.
it's yours, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I've talked with him
That's what I
about
was
that.
gonna say, it'd be cheaper to
Okay.
have it right there.
All right.
Yes, it would.
And the crowding near the power lines, I'm just going to hold off a little bit before I step into dealing with National Grid about clearing it out. It's not a super concern. It was a kind of, let's take care of it all at once. So,
I think the benefit, and we discussed this, is that because they have an easement where the power lines are, you might get the benefit of them doing the cutting for you and then
Yes.
charging you for it. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
like you said, that's a separate issue. So,
yeah.
when would you start the work?
As weather permits, I'd start it probably in the spring.
April vacation?
April, yeah,
This spring.
this spring.
Okay.
And hopefully done by the end of the
By
summer.
next April?
Understood. Any questions from the board?
No, that whole, your property extends all the way to the West Street edge, is that correct? Are we on the corner of
No,
West Street?
we're not on the
You're not on
corner.
the corner, okay.
There's one more on the corner.
Okay, I did,
West
Before
Street is farther down.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's close, but
Yeah.
there's still that other property.
Okay. Anyone in the audience interested in the project located at 511 Rochdale Street? All right.
Actually, did you, there's some, like, a little bit more organic than the glyphosate. Like, did you consider any of those, maybe?
I've considered those, but none of them have been.
They're not,
That-
it is a little bit more elbow grease, getting that bittersweet out. but
Yeah.
it's,
Oh, it's nasty.
I know, it's tough, I know.
Do you know
It takes forever
the
getting
herbicide
that
you're
out.
proposing to use, is it on a DEP approved list? Do you know?
I
Kills
believe
bees.
the glyphosate without the surfactant is something that is on the list. I'd have to double check.
Okay.
And it would be something that I wouldn't, I haven't picked the brand, and a lot of them have other stuff, and I'm trying to get it just down
Okay.
to that one ingredient. And I've read some studies online about it being safe for the wetland area, and it goes down to the surfactant and the other things they put in.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get a low concentrate because this says 25 and all of them are like 40, 53, and I want to get it to just really the minimum. I don't want to put it to begin with. I don't like using them anyways, but if I can find something organic, I would definitely.
That'd be great. Nope,
Yeah.
that'd be perfect.
All right. Any other questions? If there are none, is there a motion to close?
Move to close the hearing for, I can't say.
511.
511
Rochdale
Rochdale Street.
I'll second that.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote? Okay, we will probably make a decision this evening, so thank you for coming in.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll be in the office tomorrow after 8 if you wanted to call and find out.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Does someone want to tell me who opened that hearing and who seconded it? I missed that.
Allison did it. Michelle did.
I opened and closed it? Wow.
No,
Okay.
I don't know.
yeah, I think you did.
You seconded it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm motivated
Okay.
today.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right. Okay. All right, the next item on our agenda is 7:15 public hearing. Anthony Benvenuti, a notice of intent for the construction of a new home septic system well and site work at 795 Oxford Street South. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed to vote? Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
More members here compared to last time.
More. Two new ones.
Andrew, please. And your name is?
Rob Lucier from McClure Engineering.
Okay, Rob.
So we're here on behalf of Tony Benvenuti. Basically, from our last meeting, we just made a couple revisions to our plan based on some comments from last meeting and site walk, which I believe was just this past weekend.
Went this weekend, that's correct.
Yeah. And basically, it was just a couple changes. We wanted to keep all the work out of the 50-foot buffer zone, which originally we had the driveway turnaround in the 50-foot buffer as well as the proposed well. So we just moved that out of the 50-foot buffer. Everything else has stayed the same, so everyone can see that.
Okay.
Yeah. But just those two minor changes. That was it. We haven't heard anything back from the Board of Health yet. We're still waiting on their comments. Hopefully
On
they...
your, what, your septic design?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are hoping to keep the hearing open until we get their comments back and hopefully their approval.
Okay.
That being said, I do have plans for these changes,
The changes.
with the new revised
All right.
date that I'd like to submit tonight, if that's okay.
Sure. So if it's your request to continue the public hearing to February 27th, we can certainly do that. All I have
Perfect.
to do is sign a form.
Like a-
Is anyone in the audience here for 795 Oxford Street South? No. Okay.
Okay, I'll get a form.
So is there a motion?
A motion to continue the hearing for 795 Oxford Street South to next week?
27?
No.
227.
At 7:20?
Wait one sec.
I'll second.
No, it's going to have to be 7:25.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, is there any discussion?
Let me just get you that form.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Okay.
I'll trade you.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, if you want to just write the receipt on our card.
Sure.
Yeah, get out of your way. I'll fill this out. Give it right back to you. How's that sound?
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Now, you guys continue. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Lucier.
Thanks.
See you in 2 weeks.
I'll be here.
Okay.
Space.
All right. The next item on our agenda is the 7:20 public hearing. Darrow Ravati. Notice of intent for the addition of a garage and shed on property located at 86 Rochdale Street. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second that?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Vote. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm good. And you are?
My name is Joseph Levesque. I'm the land surveyor that did the plot plan for Darrell for these proposed improvements.
Okay.
And so yes, this application is a new application on behalf of Darrell Ravati. As you stated, he is proposing an addition to his existing dwelling, also a proposed shed, some fencing, and also expanding the driveway, all of which I would say 95% of this work was within a buffer zone.
Okay.
And then there was a little bit of fencing. He was hoping to maybe, proposing to do that actually crosses the bordering vegetated wetlands line. If you look at the abutting property on lot 84, which would be on the left side of this house on the plan here, there's an intermittent stream that runs. It doesn't really split the properties. The property line doesn't follow it, but from a possession standpoint, this intermittent stream separates the two properties. And so the garage, which is only going to be about 40 feet from that bordering vegetated line, is within the buffer zone. He has the proposed shed within the buffer zone. The driveway is certainly going to be in that buffer zone as well. And then in regard to the fence, he was proposing installing a fence. It's really sort of an awkward situation for Darrell, the way, the possession is. If you to go out there and look at the properties, it really looks like, the stream is kind of the dividing line, and it's not. And his property, you can see the dark line here, takes a hard angle back, and it really crosses well behind the neighboring property. And so what he would like to do is just install a fence, to just sort of delineate and delineate what is his and just, sort of protect, his property. So
It's stopping though before you get to the wetland,
Yeah.
is that correct?
well, it's crossing the top of the bank slightly, or the line that was delineated by Ecotech. He does not want to cross the stream. For the fence, when you come up, you can see where the fence starts. It's not going to ever cross the actual stream that divides the two properties. The same in the back. You want to put a fence along the lot line in the back as well. And again, where the stream crosses, we would not be crossing the stream with a fence.
Is there a 50-foot buffer line on here or no? So, right?
No, we just have a 100-foot.
The 50-foot of the 25-foot line would be very helpful.
I don't think any of us have been out to see the property. I know I haven't. And so what I would suggest is to schedule a site walk. I don't know if anyone's available this Saturday. We have 2 weeks to do it. We have 2 weekends that provide an opportunity, at least for some of us. What's the feeling of the board? Do we want to traipse in the woods on Saturday?
I can do it Saturday.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can yet.
All right.
I can go.
All right. That'd be excellent.
Yeah, I can make it. Yeah.
Glad
Okay.
you got all these boys going
Yeah, I
on.
know you're off the
Is
hook.
that going to work for you?
Yeah, that
Saturday morning?
does that work?
Should be saying
Next month, I'll be okay.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but I think we can still see indicia of wetlands. And I think luckily the storm wasn't the storm event they claimed it was going to be.
Precipitation.
So, can we say 9 o'clock on Saturday?
Yeah.
Now, if we get a blizzard and we get a foot of snow, then obviously all bets are off. But all right, so we'll meet you at the property then at 9 o'clock on
There.
Saturday. Okay. And as a result, we need you to the commission to continue the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay.
Need my pen going.
So is there a motion?
I make a motion that we conduct a site walk, possibly this,
We don't have to do that, but I'm about
Okay.
continuing the public hearing.
sure. I'll continue the public hearing to the 27th of February at,
7:20, I said I'm already there.
thank you.
7:20?
I'll second that.
All right.
Can you add those buffer lines?
Yes, yeah, I can certainly.
All right. Terrific. Is there any
And then just put today's date and then sign it.
is there any discussion?
Would it be all right if I stop by another time, because I can't make it this weekend?
Absolutely.
Do you have any opposition to anybody stopping by to look at the wetland?
Okay.
Thank you.
Terrific. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to vote? All right. Thank you, sir. We'll see you on Saturday and then in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
All right.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. You too.
Before we take up the 7:30 public hearing, we have received a request for an extension of an order of conditions for 46 Prospect Street.
46 to December.
46 Prospect Street.
Thank you.
For the road crossing at Windmill Estates. Do you know when we issued the order of conditions on that?
Oh.
They were looking for an
um,
extension of the order of conditions.
Yes, I do have that right here.
Okay. I'm assuming it's coming up,
I think it might have just passed.
okay, but they filed it before it
Yes,
expired, right?
he talked to me, but I just didn't get him on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. Too much paperwork. November of last year.
That's when we issued the order of conditions?
That's when it expired.
Oh, well, he's a little late, isn't he?
Yeah, well, as I said, he,
Oh, there you are. Hi, Todd. Come on up. Okay. You've got some splaining to do, son.
Yep. I have an answer.
We got you.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
That
it was the 16th,
Justin Stelmark,
17th, 18th,
JW
19th.
Lane.
I'm sorry, January 13th, there was another.
we came in and we amended it.
It was amended,
Yeah.
but
So that's the date that I was going off of. Maybe I
Yeah.
was incorrect on that.
No, it's fine.
But the November was when we came in for the single family and then we changed everything.
All right. Terrific. Excuse me. Is there any questions? So when do you think you're going to have the road crossing completed?
Oh, it's all completed.
But it's the replication area, right?
That's all done too.
All right.
So, I mean,
It's the development.
the whole development's
I
not
was
done.
going to get it right. Okay.
So hopefully, we just got 3 more sales, so within 2 years.
All right,
Yeah.
okay. Any questions?
So, how much long of an extension are you looking for?
Like, if we give them-
3 years? Is that, and that would be more than enough time.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a word about it expiring.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
If there are no questions, is there a motion?
Make a motion, we extend the order of conditions for 3 years for
Windmill Estates?
Windmill Estates, 46 Prospect.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What's the vote? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay here for
And
the,
then,
I was just gonna say,
the research is
You
looking
can
for
stay.
2, Michael.
I think we're going to have to take site walks, though.
Yeah, well, I thought so too, but
Yeah.
just,
So,
They're on
and
the
I think,
agenda,
and
so-
you don't have to be present. We're going to be,
Saturday?
since you've been in the audience, we're going to be going out on Saturday anyway, so
Sure.
I think we can probably swing by the properties.
do you want me there?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, all right, I'll just let everybody know that you guys are gonna be
We
coming.
won't knock on your door.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can if you want.
are people living in the houses?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I'll inform them all, and I'll just, I'll say sometime Saturday, somebody's gonna be walking.
Yeah, because we have the as-built, so
Yep.
it should not take very long.
Okay,
All right.
all right, I'll inform everybody.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Justin.
probably vote on the next one.
That's fine.
Okay?
Do we have time to discuss Brook Street? Was that on there too?
No. Actually, we have a public hearing at 7:30, so if you want to stick around, we can.
Okay.
Is it on, did you put it on the agenda?
No, they should
Just
be
a
here, I
request.
think. We talked about it. It was a request. It was a request.
I don't know.
I don't
Is
see
it
it
on-
online.
Is it on a stamp, has someone got a stamped agenda here?
I do.
I do.
It's not on there?
No,
Okay.
No, you do.
Stamp from the town clerk.
I didn't see it.
All right.
So if it's not on the agenda, we can't speak to you.
Okay.
No?
No. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
We have to give notice to everyone. Not that anyone would necessarily object to you speaking about it, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want to be accused of not giving the
I
public
mean,
notice.
I can send them some information about it.
okay.
What we
And discuss it
discussed.
on the 27th?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Because, we're not doing any work up there till we know how to handle this.
Okay. And since what you're saying to me is totally Greek,
I know, right, because
Yeah,
you weren't here last time.
yeah.
Yeah,
so
All right, I'll send him a little information about what's been happening.
okay, so just come
Okay.
back on the 27th.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay?
all right,
All
thank you.
right. Thank you, Justin. Oops, it's coming back to me. Can someone pass that to him? Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
All right. The next item on our agenda is 7:30 public hearing, ZPT Energy Solutions 2 LLC. A notice of intent for the proposed construction of a large-scale ground-mounted photovoltaic solar facility at 347 Rochdale Street. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I already did it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
I
because I
didn't
cut
either.
him off.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Would you guys prefer boards, or if I give you a thumb drive and we can put stuff up on the screen? What's
Sure.
I think probably a board, in all honesty, because
Yeah.
Oh, green card.
Oh, okay.
I'm not confident of our technical expertise.
Remember that for the last time. Just a second. Where do you want me to? Is that corner the best?
Actually, right where you are, I think is fine.
Good evening. I'm Paul McLean. We've been here before, but for the record, I'm with ZPT Energy. I'm here with Barry Sculchi, also with ZPT Energy. We have our design engineer, Fussin O'Neill, represented by Kevin McGarry, and our environmental consultant, LEC, represented by Andrea Kendall. A little bit about ZPT. It's a joint venture between Zero Point Development and ProTech Energy Solutions. We're a local Worcester-based solar developer. We've developed over 100 megawatts of solar projects over the last 5 years. in Massachusetts. And probably, what sets us apart from at least a handful of other the developers is that we are also involved by constructing the projects and sticking around for long-term maintenance and operation. This project is located at 347 Rochdale. It's a vacant wooded hilltop parcel comprising 46.5 acres. The project itself, the extent of disturbance on that parcel is about 26 acres. It includes 2 subarrays covering about 15 acres of the ground for a 4 megawatt AC project. The land will be is purchased as part of the development. We've made applications for site plan approval, special permit applications to planning. We've already been under peer review by Burton Engineering with a review letter already issued, and we're handling those matters. There's nothing there that's out of the ordinary that we shouldn't be able to handle in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
We were to be before the planning board last night, but the weather got the best of all of us, including all the restaurants in town.
Sorry to hear that.
We were relegated to the tapas menu at the Worcester Hotel there.
There's nothing wrong with tapas.
Not too bad, yeah. We also have a special permit application in the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Right.
We'll be in front of them on February 21st.
Okay.
Just another, let's see what else. We have, another important thing we think is noteworthy. It's our policy internally to engage the neighbors directly, so we usually send out a mailing. So we did that to all of the abutters. We've since been communicating with 2 different abutters. One, Don Kosas, I guess ex-lieutenant from the fire department.
Not sure.
Okay. Anyway, he was interested in
Contoys.
yeah, say it's wrong.
Yeah,
Wrong.
okay, when you said that.
Contoys. Yeah, he's down in just to the. I think this is probably his property right here. So he was interested in what might be going on the very near adjacent parcel, and otherwise he's in support of the property. I explained to him what was going on, and he was happy. The other neighbor that contacted us was this parcel here.
Is that Delagarden there?
That's the old salvage yard piece of ground. It used to be a auto salvage or something
Oh.
there.
Champagne.
Oh,
Okay.
Champagne's, yeah.
Yeah, and he was more interested if he could attach his parcel to the property.
You wanted to sell.
Yeah. And, it wouldn't have been out of the question, but we kind of said the ship had already sailed. We're deep into what we're doing, so we'd have to revisit that at another time.
Sure.
So that's basically, who we are and what we're about. I'll turn it over now to Kevin, who can give you a brief overview from the site plan perspective and the design of the development. And then he can work with Andrea to tell you about the resources specifically and what we're here about, the NY application.
Very good.
Thank you, Paul. Even though you took all the numbers, I have to say my name is Kevin McGarry. For the record, I'm a licensed professional engineer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'm a project manager at Fuss & O'Neill. Our office is in Quincy, and I'm a civil engineer by trade. That's my background. So Paul did a great job giving an introduction to the project, but just so everybody's orientated, north is in this direction on this plan. This is Rochdale Street right here. The old town dump property is actually located up here just off the page. The existing access road that we're using is the road that's currently used for that property. So that access road comes in this way, and you can kind of see it on the aerial if you look close, but it basically continues off over to the former dump property. Not really relevant, but it is lot number 7 of map 27, just for the record. What's that?
29 or
27.
27, okay.
We have the town property to the north. This is an undeveloped property owned by the railroad company over here to the east. Residential properties along Crowell Hill Road to the south, and then the residential properties along Rochdale Street to the west. In addition to the access, our interconnection will also be from Rochdale Street along our roadway. We have a couple wetland resource areas over in this location, and I think I will turn it over to Andrea if you want to get into that. And what I'll do is, Andrea, these renderings are basically the site plans that were included in our application package. We just put the aerials behind them and added some color. So this is that CS 101 sheet. Okay. That's like
That's not ripping the whole way.
I'm awake now.
So we had the opportunity to conduct a site walk with 3 of the commission members this past Saturday, and we focused our review at the base of the driveway. There is, so just starting from what's across the street, and then I'll work inward, there is a pond and wetland system over here, and the outlet to that forms is the Kinnear Brook, which extends off-site in this direction. All of on the west side of the street is off-site. The 200-foot riverfront area was estimated from aerial orthoimagery, and that's depicted on the plan as this faint blue line here. So some of the existing driveway, which is paved at the foot of it, this apron here, is within the riverfront area. On site, there's one bordering vegetated wetland here that discharges into the off-site pond, and this green line here is the 100-foot buffer zone from that. On the north side of the existing gravel and paved driveway is a wetland system here that discharges again through a culvert to the brook. There's probably some bit of BVW here, but it was off-site. I didn't go off-site to look at that. And there is the 100-foot buffer zone that comes across the existing gravel driveway. A bit of that 50-foot also touches the project area, and then a tiny little piece of the existing pavement is within 25 feet of that wetland. Any questions on that, maybe from the commission members who were there on Saturday?
No.
Let's see if we can not get it to make that music. So Paul alluded to some of these numbers, but again, just sort of for general context, the total area of clearing, which is this light green shade that you see around the whole property for this project, is 28.8 acres. Within that clearing area, we don't end up grubbing that entire area. There's some areas that we do selective clearing in. So the total area of land disturbance is 26.2 acres. The total area of the fence, which does include the 2 detention basins, is, I'm sorry, it doesn't include this detention basin, it only includes this one, is 22 acres. And the total length from the road up to our entrance here, where we have our inverter and our energy storage system, is 833 feet. As I mentioned, we have a detention basin located here and a detention basin located here. This is detention basin number 1, and it discharges towards Rochdale Street. The other detention basin discharges towards the existing property over to the west.
Is the entrance the only means of access to the property? Yes? Okay. And you're going to improve that, right?
Yes. Okay. So it's currently it's like 14-foot wide, and we're proposing to go to 18 feet. All of our improvements, so let me zoom in on all the improvements that we're doing inside of the, we're doing no work inside the 25-foot wetland. We are doing some inside the 100 and inside the 50. So this is all existing pavement that we wouldn't be touching. Mm-hmm. All the improvements that we're doing are on the upland side of the road. So we're not expanding the road or the limits of clearing or anything any further closer to the wetland.
Okay.
Was it the planning board that recommended or made a condition to put that pavement in, or was it the highway department?
This pavement, that's there already.
Oh, it's existing?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
most municipalities that we work in require 40 or 50 feet of pavement.
Yeah. Okay, so it's already existing, and the rest of
Correct.
it's gravel?
Correct, so the dark black gray color is the pavement, and this salmon color, if we want to call it that, is the gravel. From a stormwater standpoint, and again, that's all been reviewed by Burton, and we've received their comment letter, we've been through it, we didn't see any major issues with addressing their comments. There's essentially 5 design points. You know, a good portion of the site discharges up to the design point here along Rochdale. This portion of the site discharges here to the southeast. There's a very small sliver that discharges directly south.
Comments there?
Oh, sure.
Then the portion of this site here that discharges to this property, and then because of the break in the array, from a hydraulic standpoint, we actually separated the eastern property line into 2 design points. So we have what drains off the property here, and then what drains off the property here. The 2 detention basins that we construct are designed to attenuate the peak flow because of the clearing. It does increase the runoff, but the detention basins will prevent the peak flow rates from increasing. Stormwater is routed to those detention basins through a series of drainage swales. So we have a drainage swale that picks up the water at sheet flowing off this hill here and routes it to this detention basin. There's a swale located along the side of the road here, as well in the array here. It diverts stormwater to this basin. Both the basins have outlet control structures with different size orifices that allow them to slowly discharge stormwater over time. The solar panels themselves are ground-mounted panels on a racking system. Either the last page or the second to last page of our plans has a generic, the existing condition plans. CD 504 maybe? Yeah, that one.
Oh, dude. What does it have?
CD 504.
Okay.
You want to flip backwards if you want.
There it is.
Yeah, sort of middle of the set.
Keep going.
Keep going.
504.
Yeah.
Right in the corner.
Right there, right in the bottom. That's just sort of a general picture. They're the panels basically that are on the side of the Mass Pike, I think, are the ones that are most recognizable that people have seen. The panels themselves have intermittent gaps, which prevent stormwater from collecting along a long run and allows the stormwater to flow off the panel and into the ground. In accordance with DEP standards, the panels themselves are not actually considered an impervious area because of the gaps that allow the sunlight also to penetrate and the vegetation to grow underneath. So groundwater recharge is, in accordance with the Stormwater Handbook, is achieved through the implementation of these large pervious areas. From a erosion and sediment control standpoint, we have detailed erosion and sediment controls shown on the site plans, which I have here if we want to talk about them. But in general, they include, silt fence and compost filter stocks along the perimeter. They also have compost filter stocks spaced along the slopes, sort of to break up the sheet flow. We'll have a construction entrance located at the entrance to the site, catch basin inserts at the outlet control structures for the detention basins, stone check jams inside the swales as well as inside the detention basins. And then we have erosion control blanket, which is a biodegradable product on all the slopes that are steeper than 3:1. Mention the work inside the buffer. From a phasing standpoint, in general, the way that the projects are constructed is phase 1 is we come in and we clear the whole site, and at that point there's no ground disturbance, it's just clearing so that, cut flush and the stumps are left in place. The brush will be chipped, and some of those wood chips are kept on site as needed to be used for erosion control. Once that is done, the next phase is to come in and construct the drainage improvements, so all the swales and basins, so that the infrastructure is in place and stabilized. before the rest of the array is constructed. Once the drainage has been constructed, we get into the construction of the actual array itself, so those areas are grubbed. Again, stump grindings, the wood chips from the stump grindings can be kept on site and used for erosion control as needed. Once the area's been grubbed, regraded and smoothed out, and stabilized, that's when the racking system basically begins to go in, along with the gravel access road, the fencing, and those other final site improvements. Once the array has been constructed, it's just, final cleanup, touch, and removal of the erosion and sediment controls once everything has been stabilized. That's really all we were gonna, if you guys have any questions, we're happy to, get into more detail about anything.
Is there a reason why that swale on the eastern side doesn't come all the way up? Is there
All the way this way?
Yeah, something else catching in the water?
This swale was basically designed to take enough water for this design. As I mentioned, there was this side of the property, there's two design points. There's what comes off of this and what comes off of this.
Right.
And it's basically intercepting enough runoff so that we could let this runoff continue to sheet flow without increasing the peak flow. So that's why that swale catches this portion of the water and sends it to the detention basin.
I'm just thinking about before it gets vegetated and...
So there will be compost filter sacks along the slope.
Like CP one of these.
Yeah, I have it. It's on the next.
I think there was an environmentalist in here that was concerned about the brook that's down below and that it rising in temperature because of this. Have you heard anything about that?
Brook rising in temperature.
Was
So
that
typically-
what Glenn was saying to us before? Was it this one?
No,
Was that what she was alluding to? Was it this one?
project,
It wasn't this one.
Yeah, it's usually
Okay, all right.
associated with like impervious areas, pavements and roofs that will heat up the storm.
Yeah, it was, that's,
I feel like we need to see the...
was it the other summer? Was it the other summer?
before this
It was the last one before
Yeah.
this one.
Chicken
Okay, all
broth.
right, okay. Sorry, it was the other, so it was another summer part. That's why I was just trying to figure out how this one was gonna impact that brook, because it's, I was just gonna say, all right.
Stormwater reports.
All right.
Did I give you one of the stormwater?
I don't think I've seen it for this one.
Oh, okay, well, I have this one, it's January 22nd.
It's gonna get revised, I would imagine. There was some comments on it. so.
If you guys need, we can republish all the stuff digitally, if you want to share that.
Digital,
electronically.
love digital.
Yep.
But to answer your question, we have these, this line with the squares in it. These are compost filter sacks, like I said, that are spaced along. And we have one along the toe of the slope. So during, and again, this drain, these dashed lines, these are our phasing lines. So like I said, first phase will be to clear. Phase 2 is this drainage, and this drainage. So this area will not be disturbed until this drainage has been constructed and stabilized. So the swale itself acts as its own, really, silt fence on steroids. And again, there's compost filter sock on the downstream of everything. ZPT has constructed several of these arrays on sites like this. And haven't really had any issues.
Ask the status of that additional lot before that, was that in question, or there was an additional lot that was questionable right before that, I believe? Used to be an old auto car lot. What's the status on that?
This lot,
Yeah, what is that? What's the status on
that's
that?
not part of our project.
It's not going to be part of the project? No.
Correct.
Okay.
Hope that answered your question.
So in terms of timing, you have a couple of other boards to appear before. When do you think you're going to get through? And I don't know if planning will be finished with you after the first go-around. When would you like to continue this to? First
So-
meeting in March?
Yeah, so we'll be definitely in front of planning on the 26th as our first venue. CBA, we did that in one meeting on the last project. I don't know if that'll be the same case here. If not, it goes to March.
Yeah, I don't know what your experience was with the other project with the planning board.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, we're
We're going to be before them.
We'll be
board's the
before them on the
27th.
20, we were supposed to be yesterday, but
Right,
we'll be
we would
there.
have finished yesterday.
We're a little ahead of the game because we've already done our first meeting on the last project, we started assigned peer review, and it took a month to get that in plan, but this one here, we've already conducted it, we've got the peer reviewer's notes back. We're waiting for town engineer to also,
Drainage calcs and
and we'll get,
whatnot.
and we probably have had a lot of those issues out of the past, having gone through it the first time.
Yeah.
But, so we would like to get it on as soon as we can here.
All right. Well, if that is your request, then I'm sure we can find time at the next meeting.
27th?
Yeah, what time would that
We
be?
show the comments.
Yeah, we're already underway with peer
I
review
have
comments.
this already
we have.
scheduled for the 7:30 on the 27th.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
We should have a response
That's
to the Burton
perfect.
letter by then, and any revised stormwater council have been
Right,
provided. to
great.
you.
Sir, are you here for this project?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, and we've also, I think today got our DEP number.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that-
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I actually showed you.
I just printed it
So
out.
we're in good shape there too.
All right, well, in that case, we will continue this to, well, rather, is there a motion to continue the public hearing to February 27th at 7:30?
I'll make a motion to continue the ZPT hearing till to February 27th, 7:30.
Okay,
second that.
okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, so voted. All right, thank you.
Guys, have a great evening.
Thank you. Reminder. I'm like,
That's okay.
Google reminded me that.
We were here before too. so I understand that.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
A friend of mine's
And
wife
Karen
Yes,
really
it's
get
been
up
a
at
long
5
day.
o'clock in the morning.
Reminder, don't forget, the girls want flowers and chocolates and Chinese food.
Yes.
Bring it home with you. That comes home tomorrow night.
Yeah, I gave it back
No,
to
I'm
Sheila.
gonna
Okay, I'll
be
get that.
racing in to figure out what, I've done that before at the airport, I'll buy something.
Keep that one.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Tell you.
Okay, we'll see you on the 27th then.
I'll give you all of these because I'm not going to be here. So
Someone's
Sheila
going
won't
to
have
send
to
that
print them again.
Do you want the
Information
current application digitally, or do you just want to wait for the revised?
We're about a week out
You
from,
can wait for the revised.
right?
Yeah, we'll wait for the revised.
We're about a week out and have the revisions with peer reviews.
Yeah,
Give you all the updates and things like that.
That'd be great. All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
There's like a 5-second lag in that thing. Yeah, the 5-second delay, yeah.
Thank you.
Good night. Nice to see you, Paul.
Yeah, nice to see you all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night. Good night.
This one, this is the house you get for cheaper.
Sir, why are you here?
The Lester Street Auburn solar
Solar.
project, the
Yeah.
bridge replacement.
Oh, okay.
Sure,
It is
yeah.
on the agenda, other business.
Yes, I see that. So why don't you come on up?
Yeah. I'm going to give you all of this. Oh, but in that.
Get that copy of
There you
those,
go.
I know, the tree, the photos. That was mine.
Oh, yes.
Michelle gives that.
Good evening, my name is Dan Campbell, Level Design Group. Nick unfortunately couldn't be here this evening, who presented the project the first time. So if you remember, we have an existing bridge that goes over the intermittent stream, connecting the wetlands on the site between Lot 1 and the remaining portions of the property. And we had said that structural plans needed to be done for the redecking of that bridge. We submitted a letter on the structural integrity of the bridge. And basically what has to be done is that the bridge itself, some of the rivets need to be taken out and put back in. But to do that, they need to put temporary shoring in underneath the bridge. So we're here to basically a minor modification without modifying the permit, because we did specify in the original permit that we were going to submit these plans later. And we did detail how we intend to accomplish this. The intention is basically to do the work. It is inside the 25-foot, as the bridge itself clearly is inside the 25-foot. But we're going to remove and stockpile the topsoil in the area of the temporary shoring, provide a level base material of 6 inches of crushed stone, install the temporary shoring itself, complete the installation of the new concrete bridge decking, as well as replacement of the rivets, remove the temporary shoring, remove the crushed stone base, replace the stockpiled topsoil, and reseed the disturbed areas with wetland seed mix. If you remember, during the original application, that area is quite disturbed to begin with. There's a lot of tires, there's trash, other things that we had already said we were going to be down there to take out. So we are doing some work in the area to begin with. This is going to be clearly substantially more than that, but I think we've got a good plan to mitigate the work that we're planning on doing.
And when do you propose to get started?
They propose to get started as soon as they can in the spring.
Okay.
I don't know if the planning board has told you, but some portion of this racking system, or at least on lot 1, does not appear to be going in. It's going to be work to do the remainder. So they're going to replace the bridge decking first without doing this portion of lot 1.
So they're changing the sequence of construction?
They're actually changing the type of panel that they're putting in.
Oh, really?
For a more efficient panel, so this portion of lot 1 may not go in.
At all?
At all, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
we're going to leave it permitted for the time being, but right now we're just maintaining the roadway and replacing the bridge so that we can get to the remainder of the project.
Okay. So because you're doing work within the 25-foot buffer zone, you need a variance from us under our special conditions. Or not variance, a waiver.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Okay. Since it was a public hearing, I think we are all set.
Discussion.
Yeah, so thanks for coming in.
All right. Thank you.
I'll be in touch with Nick,
All right, great.
okay?
Thank you.
Yep. Unless you wanted me to call you.
No, call me.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Something in regards to snow being stockpiled on 33 Sword Street. Did that come across
Yeah, we
somewhere?
got an email.
We got an email on that?
Before we even talk about that.
Sorry.
Okay. So, we closed the hearing for Mr. Milanazzo, and that's 511 Rochdale. So, my thought was this. I mean, I don't really care which herbicide he uses as long as it's approved by DEP. And so, I mean, and again, as he indicated, he's not quite sure exactly what he wants to
I
use.
know.
So I think.
I just had to ask.
Well, no, it was good. It was a great question, Michelle.
I'm rooting for
He
bees.
seems very conscientious. I mean, who else sees all that information?
It's true, I
Yeah.
know,
You know.
I know,
He seems
I know.
conscious.
So,
I know.
yeah, and no, they are. They're both very.
They're
nice
very
people,
lovely. I agree.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
agree.
In any event. So, is there any other discussion about how you want to proceed?
So if we give it a negative nomination, can we make stipulations about?
Oh, absolutely.
No
Mhm.
machines, okay, yeah.
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 Okay. So, does someone want to take a crack at this and make a motion?
Go ahead, Carol. I defer.
I'll make a motion.
There we go.
Okay.
That
You
we
got it also?
issue a negative
Look, she's got it
determination
already.
for the RDA for William Lozano. Is that right?
That's not-
Yeah, at 511 Rochdale Street.
Okay.
Okay,
With
what's subject to?
Subject to the conditions that they use herbicide only approved by the Mass DEP, that they only do hand applications directly on the roots only, and no machines to do this work outside of
The
Cutting
tree.
tools.
tree and kind of, you know, he said he would stay on the driveway.
Yeah.
And that all items cleared are removed from the site?
Yes.
Mhm.
And
So, Sheila, you got that?
Yeah?
care to retain as much of the native as possible. And then the tree, kind of the tree, right?
Yeah, I mean, the tree's
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, that's tree on.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, go, you got it, good job.
How's that?
So is he planning on stumping
That's great,
that
that's
tree?
great.
I don't think you can
Is he
put
going
that,
to-
you can't just say go for it.
Okay.
Is he going to stump that tree, grind the stump?
I don't know that he didn't say he was going to grind the stump.
No, he just said nothing about this stuff. He said he's gonna talk to National Grid.
But you know, well, I think actually the fact that we're asking him to remove materials from the property, I think it's self-evident. I don't think we have to require him to remove the stump. I think aesthetically he'll probably end up doing that himself anyway. You know, so it is it's a nice property. They've done a nice job kind of decorating, you know, landscaping it. So, all right, is there a second to Allison's motion?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
job.
Okay, we're going to send this around to be signed.
Oh, good.
There we go.
Excuse me.
And then with respect to 476 Leicester Street, because the work is taking place within the 25-foot buffer zone.
He's got a signature just like me. Perfect.
It seems to me we need
But not
to,
in the actual wetlands?
So he wasn't going to, this is the one that the order of conditions was issued on, so he's not going to seek an amendment to it? 'cause
well,
it's
he
a
does want an
minor-
amendment to it.
I don't remember.
It's a
A
minor,
minor amendment,
you know, it's a minor amendment, it's still an amendment.
yeah.
So,
So we think it's minor enough that he doesn't have to have a public hearing and all that. That's,
well, I suppose that's up to, I mean, it wasn't publicized as a public hearing. I mean, I know
No.
they did put us on notice though that they were going to redeck the bridge, and so I think we took that into account
yeah.
when we issued the order of conditions. I think what wasn't necessarily taken into account is that it was going to take place within the 25-foot buffer zone. At least he referred to it that way.
Aren't they putting some type of a,
Shoring
Underneath.
yeah,
And I think that's what would trigger it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what triggers the waiver. So I think the only thing, it seems to me we need to do is to amend the previous order of conditions by adding special condition number 14.
That's the one you proposed.
Yeah. And I'll just read it. It says, 14 says, upon good cause shown, the applicant's request for a waiver permitting construction within the 25-foot buffer zone as defined in the town's wetland protection regs is hereby granted as A, there are not practicable alternatives to the proposed action, B, alteration of the resource area has been minimized, and C, compensatory and migratory measures are taken to protect the public interest in the protected resource area. So if you think about it, C really doesn't even apply because, again, this is temporary shoring until they've redecked the bridge.
We don't want to
that's
look at it
what I
after they're done, or we'll look at it when the whole thing's done.
Yeah, because they're going to have to, they'll file,
I mean, at that point, if
they have to give us an as-built plan, so we'll have an opportunity to go out there.
We can keep going. We can keep
Do you
going.
recall Mike and I went out with that gentleman that was never been on the site, then you ended up meeting the other
Yes.
people?
Oh, I
So
remember
like,
the site.
I'm curious
You
to
don't
see
even
what
see-
we
You guys
missed.
haven't seen the bridge.
No,
You haven't even seen what
We,
they're talking about.
that was a serious, I mean, my God, we were going,
that was bushwhacking.
So this
it was
time-
bushwhacking.
This time you can't.
I thought we were in the
go
Allagash up in Maine.
And you get to the very last driveway up at the top of the hill.
You have no idea how thick that
And
brush
if
was.
you went
It
straight
was
up the
crazy.
asphalt
So-
driveway.
We didn't see any
He
asphalt
signed
driveway, we
an
just,
order of
we were
conditions
going through
signature
shrubs,
sheet, right?
shrubbery.
And they add that on to it,
Yes, it's
but it
because,
doesn't have to be recorded or anything?
You know, I just wonder how much room this really is and how, I don't know.
Or do we just want to add a little,
it has to be amended,
yeah,
okay, because again, they're proposing work that wasn't originally proposed, and they need a waiver to do it.
yeah.
I think
Is
we
that
can,
$500, that waiver, or is that at the time of the application? Now they're coming in asking for a waiver. Is that still a $500?
you know, you're asking me all these questions.
That's a good question, that's a really good question.
I mean,
What does the bylaw say?
That's right. A new application coming in.
but it's not a new application.
Okay.
It's not.
So it's not a first-time deal asking for it, so therefore you wouldn't,
I don't think, no, we're not entitled to ask them for
Okay.
another fee. Although I'm sure the town treasurer would be very, applaud you for your efforts, but I don't think we can.
No, I just assume not.
Yeah, so again, as I see this, I think the way we can do this is to move to amend the order of conditions
Okay.
by adding special condition number 14.
Right.
That's really the only change.
Okay.
So if someone can make that motion?
I move to amend
Order conditions.
the order of conditions
For
to add number 14,
special
condition 14.
Conditions 2.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any other discussion?
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Opposed? It's a
so
vote.
we will
Okay.
sign a new signature sheet
Yes.
for that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
What's this 46 Prospect Street?
That,
That's
oh, that was the, we already voted on
We
that.
already
That
did
was for
this,
the
this
extension of the order.
might have
And this
skipped
one
into my
is
packet.
for
And then we also have to issue an order of conditions for
Yeah.
707 Oxford Street South,
Should the
Mr.
new
Johnson.
members sign this since it's something that they didn't
No.
with?
How would you feel about
Okay.
that? How'd you like it? Did you see it?
I don't like it.
Does anyone, I'd like to read to the board what we had for the meeting minutes
On what?
for John Johnson.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, I read it.
It just says, "A new Title V has been completed, erosion control will be installed, a silt fences for our bales, a waiver of the 25 no-build zone will need to be obtained as the dwelling relocated 23.3 at the closest point to wetland." Then he wishes to obtain clarification the lot is buildable. If and when an order is issued, he'd be willing to specify that a dwelling must be located where it's not shown on the plan, which doesn't matter. It has to be where we say. But if we don't allow him the waiver, he would have to put the house further away from the wetland.
See, I think,
Okay.
so, refresh my memory, when he came, did he have he had a plan with a house on it, right?
And the original plan was done by J. Du Bois. Remember,
Back
they
in-
brought that old 93
Back in
plan?
The old
93.
one. And
He had him redo it. He had Ecotech
Well,
come in
and
and
what
redid it.
they did is he delineated the wetland, okay?
Right.
But my question is this, was the plan submitted to us as vacant land or with a house built on it?
They had a proposed house on
We
the...
did, the last meeting.
Was
Yeah.
that one 25
Now I
years
know
old?
exactly what
That's when it was 25 years old.
Yeah.
And now they have a new proposed house that's smaller.
Yep.
But he's still not going to put a house
Do
on
we-
it.
do
He
we
wants
have that
us
file,
to say,
Sheila?
whenever he decides
Well,
to
no,
sell.
look,
Yeah.
Just so we can look at it.
so, we have limited jurisdiction, as you know, okay? Our jurisdiction is whether or not this plan complies with the Wetlands Protection Act, the Rivers Act, if applicable, or our bylaws and regulations, okay? And that's really the extent of it.
But,
Yeah, what?
like, so my friend lives at this house right now, right? And then Beaver moved in, like up street, and now her land is now flooding. So the wetlands are actually becoming greater in her backyard. So
I'm sorry?
over the course of 5 years, her wetlands are bigger. If we say
Did you
that
go,
yes.
have you been to the property?
No,
It's
I
on a
haven't.
hill,
Oh, okay.
okay? It's on a hill. I don't care how
Well, I'm
good...
asking, I'm
I don't
asking
care-
you, I haven't
excuse
been
me,
there.
I don't care how good a beaver is in constructing
Well,
a dam.
okay.
This is not, it's not going to crawl up 25, 30 feet to affect the property, okay?
I'm
So,
just saying.
while I want to thank you for that anecdote, has no application to this whatsoever.
Just saying, give it a blanket,
It's 23.3
like stuff
feet.
changes.
Okay.
From that corner to the flagged wetland right there. So
Okay,
he would
it's
need a
25.
waiver
Yeah, waiver
from
for that.
us
Okay,
to build it as
Just say-
he has it on
okay.
here.
It's on a hill. All right, you good.
So, and to your point, so in order for us to issue an order of conditions,
Yeah.
we're going to have to grant a waiver.
Yeah.
And,
Waiver for what? The building?
Within,
It's within the 25-foot no build
25.
zone. I have a question for Sheila.
Figure something out.
What is the setback requirement from the planning board or the ZBA from the road for a
It's-
house?
it's not our issue.
No, I'm just curious to know, that's all. It's not,
either 20, 30, or 40 feet, depending on where
Depending on what, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't,
So, I don't know
Just
to be
what
honest
according-
with you, I don't think it's a buildable lot.
According to this here, they have it as 40.5 feet
He's agreed.
from their property
In my
line
opinion.
to where the easement is. Now, what's the easement usually on the road? From the road to the proproperty, like that the town is allowed to,
Well,
is it
they
like 10
usually own
feet?
5 feet.
5 feet?
But that
So
should-
roughly, according to this, to the edge of the easement, it's 40.5 feet. So even if we were to say, we want you to push this, no waiver, you're out of the zone, he wouldn't have to go to the ZBA and spend any more money, even though it's not our issue. But what I'm saying is, we're not creating a conundrum for him where he has to go back.
I mean, I think, look, it's real simple. We act on what's been submitted to us, okay? And so if what's submitted to us, if it complies with the regulations and the bylaws, then, we have to approve it. If we don't approve it, then he can take an appeal. But having said that, because he's within the 25-foot no-bill zone, he does need a waiver as a special condition, So, and I think, again, you've been to the property, you saw it on Saturday with us. So it sits well, I'm like, what's the water body that's below there along 395?
It's not even, it's,
Right.
I mean, it looks like a brook, or a pond even, right?
right, yeah, it's not, it's on this side of the highway, it's like a small body of water, Eddie Pond's on the other side.
Right, so
It's not
I'm not even sure.
a major,
Even if it has a name, but the important thing is that
What is it again?
it's 707
Yes,
Yeah.
Oxford.
Oxford Street, and if you can put it on Google, that would really, so we can all see it.
I agree
I-
with you, Mike.
707, there you go, yep,
Where is it?
right there.
Okay,
And then,
got it,
can we
got
do
it. She's got it,
Google
yeah.
Earth so you can see like
Yeah,
the
Google
actual
on, there it is.
satellite view maybe?
Yeah,
We could also do
Go up to
Google
layers,
Earth.
I think.
yeah. put it on
Go up to
Google.
layers,
Layers will do it.
the blue thing.
No,
Uh,
back
The
up.
blue
There we
thing
go.
up there,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now go down to the bottom corner. I don't know if we wanted to go to GIS,
No, how about,
whatever.
how about,
GIS aerials, yep.
there we go.
Okay, we got it.
And we zoom it in, gotta love technology.
Yeah.
You do.
Now,
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the, there we go.
Sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay. This is the lot, as you can see it. The only place a house can be sited is over in this corner, all right? The bank has got to be, what, a good 15 feet above the water, if not more?
Oh, yeah, it's up.
So this is not going to, there's going to be no infiltration from whatever this is, okay?
Right.
Because as far as I know, water does not flow uphill.
No, no.
And I don't care how good those beavers are.
I don't care how beavers
never
look. I didn't see it.
They do.
I didn't see it.
But in all
Okay,
seriousness,
They're gonna need Hoover Dam to do that.
in all seriousness, okay, he's submitted a project to us, he's submitted a house lot that requires a waiver. And so what we have to decide is whether or not we're going to issue an order of conditions granting Mr. Johnson a waiver. So is there any other discussion about this?
I think it's not a buildable lot.
That's not our, but that's not our issue.
But, okay,
I don't think
our
this
issue
is-
is deciding upon a waiver or not.
Would we give him a waiver if he was building a house today? I
Okay?
think we
I
would.
would not.
I think I would. But he
Okay.
isn't. I have a hard time saying, like 10 years from now, if he's, like saying, yes, absolutely, go ahead, build a house on it.
I mean, the history is pretty tortured. He apparently had plans to do this 25 years ago and he didn't.
yeah.
And it's not
I
entirely
think that
clear
we
to me
would give
why.
him a waiver if he was building a house today.
According to the minutes here, it says that he got a new Title V. He did get a new Title V for
What is that?
the septic system that's
Yeah.
25 years old, never
In the
used.
well.
Which
Never
means
used.
that, oh, okay.
That it's still
There's a
functional.
well
Okay,
there
it's still
too.
functioning.
So
But how is he, he wants to sell it, correct? He wants to sell it.
absolutely.
But sell it not knowing what's going to happen to it. Is that correct?
He did mention he would stipulate that house would have to be built. But the building department's not going to give him a house.
look, we're getting far afield here, all right?
Yeah.
Our jurisdiction doesn't concern
Oh, that's the last one.
the
That's
building
right. Yep.
department,
Sorry,
it's not concerned zoning.
Yeah.
Okay, those are all issues that are really not
I don't
before
want
us.
people even in the 50-foot buffer zone, so I don't think the 25-foot is something we should just give away like that.
I don't think so
Without a
either.
plan, like, he can figure
That's
it out.
previous one.
Put a building, maybe it's not as wide as he would like, maybe it's not as long as he would like, but, whatever the building plan they come up with, it could easily work with all the rules. I mean, not easily, that's the wrong word. It could very difficultly work with all the rules, but I don't know, I don't personally.
Okay.
I agree.
Well, let's take a vote then.
I agree.
So let's, is there a motion?
So we're ordering an order of condition.
No. Well, first of all, the motion should be,
To wait.
what? Well, no. Wait. First of all, I guess the motion should be, should an order of conditions be issued for 707 Osford Street South? So, would someone like to phrase that motion?
I'm confused, so could the order of conditions be ordered but the waiver not be granted?
If the waiver is not granted, that's a real interesting question.
Would you have to submit a new plan with
I don't know how
the
close
house
as well
being
and
out of
septic
the
are.
25?
The,
He probably doesn't want the order without.
Existing leaching field. I don't know how far away the house has to be from the leach area.
And that's what it is.
That's the problem.
That's what the
I
problem
mean,
is.
as well, I don't know
Yeah,
where
it's
his
the
well
well and the
is.
septic and all the other setbacks. It's
Here's the
difficult.
existing well is here.
So maybe his house needs to be 17 feet wide instead of 20.
So it's
But I mean,
Yeah,
like when they
figure it
sell
out.
it, maybe they'll have town water and well
23.
up on that street. I mean,
He's
town water
he's
and
just 2
sewer.
feet at that corner of the
don't, I
house
know.
on that, in the
that's right.
in the 25-foot zone. He's only 2 feet.
Yeah,
do you have the file for this?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
look at that again.
Yeah.
Build
No,
to
not
that.
the plan, the file.
The application?
Did you have an engineer do this?
Yeah, Jay Dubois.
Okay.
I don't have to.
Rockwood was involved before doing
But it's not through
something.
at you.
Motion is to decide upon the
Yeah,
waiver.
here's
Yeah,
here's my whole plot.
All right, hold on.
You got it?
So he started this process 25 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, not the process, he just bought the property.
He bought the property, he never
Yeah.
did anything.
Right,
He
correct.
put a septic in and a
Like
well,
90.
but that was it. He
And that was
never,
it.
Going to do
yeah,
something, then didn't.
never built anything and.
But he wants to sell it.
I think he went through a divorce in the interim.
He wants to sell it.
This
not knowing
this
exactly
corner of the
what-
lot's actually 23 feet from the buffer, not even 23.3 on this corner, so this one's actually even closer.
Is that PVW that's mapped or a bank?
Yeah, he was talking with the 23.3, but this one here is
Right.
23.
23,
It's
yeah.
even closer.
Okay.
I mean, it's tough, I just.
So he's looking to build a certain
We can't make a decision.
I-
size.
Yeah, he put the house in there just to show where it
Whoever
would be
buys this
going.
land,
Okay.
If he wants us to just put a blanket on it saying.
the buildable lot, it's can they build it
Yeah.
with the wetlands and how can we, what do they need to
That
do
was
to build a
buildable,
house?
once that's built.
That's our decision as far as the
It's really
wetlands.
out of our hands. If he's
far
playing
as-
conservation, has an order of conditions,
Well, looking at that,
with or without waivers.
But it could be 5 years.
all right.
I mean, all of that other stuff could be.
Yeah, you're up in there.
I don't know, I'm just, it's,
It's scale of this,
I don't understand
120.
doing it without
20 scale.
doing it.
I know. Just build a house. It's not in here, sorry.
Do it. Throw it back at me.
So look,
Sorry, I'm throwing. I gave him all of my
Looking at the
stuff, by the
plans,
way, so
okay.
you have to copy it.
the well is,
Because I'm not gonna be
is
here.
more than 100 feet from the septic
Oh,
tank.
okay.
Okay, and that complies with the requirements. So really, I think the issue we're I think if this was a wider, if a waiver wasn't needed for the property, I think it'd be an approvable project. What I think people are hung up on, and for good reason, is the fact that it falls within the 25 feet no build zone. But again, keep in mind, it's 25 feet from the edge of the wetlands, but it's on a bank.
yeah, so,
And so there's going to be no, I don't see a potential, as long as he puts in erosion control measures, there should not be
So
any
he's not going to be
encroachment.
putting in anything.
Well, we don't know what he's going to do.
That's
He's
the problem.
selling it. He already told us, he's not going to build anything. He's selling it.
He's just selling it blank.
All he wants us
That's
to,
right.
all he wants us to do is approve something so
Well-
that he can sell it.
Well,
He's
Somebody
saying,
else can buy it and build.
time out. Time.
Time out. It would have been better if he had submitted this without a house being shown on it, all right? The way this has been provided to us, is submitted to us, is that it's a plan with a house on it, okay? So, I'm just saying, if we approve this, then whoever the buyer's gonna be has to build it in accordance with this plan.
Yeah.
Well,
And to be honest with you, that's kind of crazy.
that's what the timeout is, because every time he's tried to sell this, the town, when they've gone to try and actually buy it, the town has said, no, it's not buildable. You
All right.
can't build on it.
All right, okay.
Well, no one specified why. You have to go to conservation, maybe you might have to go to zoning. No one specified why it wasn't buildable.
Yeah, when he came in here the first time, he said the same thing, and I said, well, sir, you know, I
You
mean,
might have
I
had to
wasn't
go to
here-
conservation. He didn't
I wasn't here
say-
25 years ago, but,
Yeah.
but, you know, don't say that it was because of us that you couldn't build it.
Yeah.
All right, so this is, I mean, if he's gonna sell it, see, this is the problem, all right? He submitted a plan for us with a house, but he's made representations that he's not gonna build the house, he's gonna sell the property, okay? So, I don't think he can impose as a condition this plan.
With the house?
With the house, well, I mean, think about it, okay? I want to buy the property, okay? Well, you have to build it exactly in conformance with what the Conservation Commission has done, all right? For one thing, the order of conditions would apply to Mr. Johnson. It wouldn't necessarily apply to his successor. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I mean, I have a problem with that.
I do too.
It's my main problem.
He's saying it's a buildable lot, but not necessarily selling it that there is this lot that's going to be built on. Well, he's just selling the lot, correct?
See, the better way,
Should have done an RDA just to establish the wetland.
that's
Okay.
exactly.
Well, yeah,
He
but
should have,
yes.
done, maybe,
Yeah.
a notice, requested a well delineation
Yeah.
instead of so I think what's happened is that he's kind of gone about this the wrong way. If he was going to actually develop the property, then we could act on it. The fact that he's representing he's going to sell it, there's no assurance that, well, first of all, whether he can sell it, and B, that that whoever buys it is going to build a house or can build a house in accordance with this plan.
Well, couldn't you issue the order of conditions stating to be as built as this plan, and if they wanted any changes, they'd have to come in and amend the order, or apply for a new one?
What if our bylaws changed so it was only 10 feet?
Well, that's not going to
I
happen.
know that's silly, but I mean, again.
It's only good for 3 years.
Yeah, that's true too.
No, it's, yeah. So it doesn't sell in 3 years. Now what?
He gets an exemption.
Again, you're getting far field. You know, we're trying to predict what's going to happen with the property. Okay?
We can't do that.
Well,
You got a
we can.
crystal ball?
It's not our role to do that.
No.
You know.
I do feel for him.
Does the waiver
I don't understand why he just doesn't
override
put all that money into it. I don't
the
understand why he
sale
just
of it
doesn't buy
at all?
What if he submits a new plan and removes the house?
Well, you know that's might be what he has to do, but that means we have to deny. We can't issue an order of conditions for this one.
No, I can't.
Okay. So, does someone want to offer a motion?
I make a motion that we issue a positive determination. No,
No.
no, no, no.
Well, you can
That we-
look. You can do whatever you want.
Wait.
There's just no guarantee we're going to vote for
I
it.
apologize.
That's fine.
I'd issue
All
it.
right.
Make a
See, this
motion that we
is the
reject
problem. The problem is that we have to do something because this is probably the 21st day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it closed the public hearing
The last meeting.
their last meeting. So this is the 21st day,
Yeah,
all right?
2 weeks.
If we take no action, that will be constructively approved,
Right.
Okay.
all right?
Make a motion to reject the
weeks.
NOI?
They, is that a
Oh,
correct
yes, it was. It was almost 3 weeks.
motion?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a correct motion.
And I think we can offer, what we can do is we can offer an explanation, okay?
Okay.
So is there a motion?
Go
Make a
ahead.
motion that we reject the NOI for
707.
707.
707 Oxford Street South, and make the recommendation that he file an RDA without a building on the lot.
Okay.
And then we can approve, should I go on?
Well,
Well, first of all, why don't we do this?
Deny it.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
We can talk about the language. Okay,
I'll
is
second
there
that.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, it's a vote. And then, in terms of offering the explanation, all right, the applicant has indicated that he intends to sell the property. The plan submitted by the applicant shows a proposed single-family home. In the opinion of the commission, the applicant should submit a new plan
Yeah.
without showing any structures. So that the commission can determine if the property in its current state complies with Auburn wetland bylaws and regulations.
okay.
Okay.
I like that. Got it.
Got it.
Okay?
She's got it. Yeah.
All right.
So, deny that, and that's a reason, okay? All right, let me get out the order. I think I've got it right here, all typed up and ready to roll.
Okay.
You won't be
That-
signing this,
that
this was
is-
something
that
else
is-
beforehand.
That is for,
707.
okay, got it.
We sign it?
Well, we
You
have
gotta sign it to
decide
deny
whether
it.
you approve it or
Yeah,
deny it.
We've never done this one.
I think we've denied a few, but very
Yeah.
Very
very
few.
rarely.
I think we,
So,
So, did you want to suggest he just submit an RDA then?
no.
No.
We can, what do I tell you? We do not offer advisory opinions.
I know that.
sorry, I'll
But you could tell me
take
though.
that part out of my,
How many times have people come before us and,
Too many.
yeah.
How many times do I keep asking you?
Yeah,
Probably just to
Yeah, how
say
many
he has
times I
to
can
file a
tell you
notice
the
of
same
intent
thing?
because the water right there.
I feel like he's just gonna say,
I like to ask. Okay, all right, so we've got that.
I was going to ask again, too.
This is 707.
Okay.
Okay, so what else have we got going on here?
Well, the last thing, thank God,
thank God.
is I sent an email to Megan Selby about our friend, Mr. Goodman.
Yeah.
I did not hear back from
I
her.
haven't heard back
God.
either. I called and left a message with Judy.
Now, she told me she was going, I think the week before I went away on vacation, so I haven't heard of Peter.
Yeah, and then I called yesterday, and the phone just kept ringing and ringing. Finally, I've got Megan's extension, so I called and left a voice message on her extension today, and
Well, I sent her an email and she didn't
Yeah.
respond to it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I'll send another one.
yeah.
So I don't know if she was
Can we
out
send
there.
Said we had a
him?
meeting tonight. I
Can
didn't
we
know if you
charge
had any
him?
updates.
Not
What
yet.
are our fees?
For what?
What are?
For what?
For fines,
Oh, yeah.
Michelle wants to fine him.
Have we got everything here? No, wait a minute.
No, I have a question.
Don't rush off.
Mike, could we
I don't think we'll get it.
How do we get a part-time agent?
I don't think so, we have enough. I don't think we'll get it out of it.
I know it's extending our meeting.
You did put a part in there.
I gotta go home.
We're allowed to
That
charge
was
you.
continued. That was continued.
Not that I
Do
don't
a
love all
site
of you,
visit. So
but
I'll get a list of the site visits together for you.
Well, I think we have, we've got 86, hold on, I'll find it. 86 Rochdale Street and then Whitman Bailey Drive,
Put it together.
or Whitman Bailey Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it in.
86.
And the other, there's actually three, Mike. There was another one,
What about
Prospect,
the solar?
130 Prospect, I think.
What's that?
And the solar place?
Yeah,
you already
that's
did
all
the
the
solar
same
place.
area.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, yeah,
That's right.
The two on Whitman Bailey, the two duplexes, and then
22,
130.
24, 26, 28.
All
And
right.
then what's the other one? 86 Rochdale.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Do we have to be concerned
Okay.
with that snow
These
buildup?
are all the minutes done.
Sword Street.
Sheila, how much would it cost to get an agent?
Get a what?
To
Yeah,
get
the
an
neighbor
agent?
complained about it.
They complained, somebody complained.
Yeah, 33 complained about 31.
I don't know, we just, we just
Putting
take
snow
them
right
as
there,
consultants.
right next
All
to
of
where
these
the...
people
can take
need
a
work, and they love a little part-time extra money.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I might know
Everyone
one
in
of those.
my office would love to do it if they lived nearby.
Yeah. Well, we've got people that we can call and ask to, you know, do a visit.
How does it work? I mean,
We just send them a letter and ask them if they,
like, we don't need,
like Margaret Washburn does it a lot. We've got, who's the other one?
so,
3 something, what was her name? She used to work with the EP. That nice
Oh, Marielle
lady.
Stone?
Yes.
Mhm.
What's her name?
Marielle Stone.
I just feel like someone
Yeah,
to
that's
consult
not it.
with,
Okay.
someone to look at the wetlands who really has the expertise.
I don't know.
You know?
What's her name?
Can't think of it.
This is what I'm going to
Stone doesn't sound right with the last.
Marielle Stone used to work for DEP. She was doing some consulting.
Yeah, Three River something.
Okay.
Three Oak something.
Okay.
Yeah, she did on Mill Street. She did their consulting over on Mill Street for the applicant.
It wouldn't be more than like 10 hours a week, right?
Okay, so anyway, Nathan, Tony, this is more or less a typical agenda. I hope, I know it's a lot to kind of take in at one time, but I hope we don't drive you away.
No.
And we welcome you again to the board. And
If either of you want to have any free time, want to come in, I'm here on Monday nights. If you kind of wanted me just to kind of explain a little how it works a little bit better, because I know when I came here, I had no clue.
Takes so long.
And it's very confusing when you don't understand the lingo. So next Monday I won't be here, but
so anyway,
I'm sorry.
is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Well done. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote.